Subjective cause begins behind the metaphysical reality, behind the unseen. This is the 7-Minute Daily Focus, day 56 of 365. Today's focus, subjective cause. Subjective cause begins behind the metaphysical reality, behind the unseen, behind the inner, not the outer, not in front, not in appearance, not in reaction to what is physically visible. Subjective cause is the origin point of every physical effect. Behind is the interior seat of causation. It is the field of approval. It is where standing is granted before anything appears in front. It is silent, decisive, and prior to visibility. The world in front is secondary. It reports, it reflects, it does not initiate. The subjective is the unseen field of approval. It is the interior stance you occupy repeatedly. It is where thought is authorized. It is where belief grants permission. It is where identity stabilizes before it is expressed. It is where causation is initiated before it becomes physically visible in front. Every physical effect has a subjective cause. Every visible structure has an invisible origin. Every outcome that stands in front was first sustained behind. Nothing in front is self-originating. Nothing in front initiates itself. Nothing in front has creative authority. Pause for a moment. Sense this clearly. Cause stands behind. Effect stands in front. Subjective first. Objective second. This is not indecision. This is order, the structural sequence that never reverses. Subjective cause is not passive thought. It is not idle imagination. It is not emotional wishing. It is not unstable desire. It is authorized thought held with certainty. It is belief standing in approval of what is deemed real. It is alignment maintained without contradiction. It is approval sustained long enough for translation to occur in front. To understand subjective cause, you must understand approval. What you repeatedly approve inwardly acquires structural standing. What acquires standing inwardly translates outwardly. Approval is not emotion. Approval is authorization. Authorization is causation. When subjective cause is unstable, physical effect becomes unstable. When subjective cause is divided, physical results fragment. When subjective cause is contradictory, physical experience becomes inconsistent. When subjective cause is clear, physical structure translates, because the world in front reflects the world behind. Understand this precisely. Subjective cause is the repeated approval of what you deem real. It is what you hold as established. It is what you return to when distracted. It is what you protect when challenged. It is what you refuse to surrender when appearances fluctuate. If you repeatedly authorize doubt behind, doubt will print in front. If you repeatedly authorize fear behind, fear will structure experience. If you repeatedly authorize certainty behind, certainty will translate in front. The sequence does not break. The structure does not negotiate. Subjective cause governs physical visibility. This is why mastery begins inwardly, not by forcing outcomes, not by chasing results, not by manipulating the world in front, but by stabilizing cause. You do not manipulate effect. You govern origin. You do not overpower appearance. You determine standing behind. Refuses contradiction. It gathers refuses contradiction. It gathers scattered thought and restores sequence. Continuity builds momentum. Momentum strengthens pattern. Pattern stabilizes structure. Alignment produces inevitability, not by force, by law. What is held steadfast behind, without wavering, without silent reversal, without emotional interruption, must eventually become physically visible in front. Notice how this unfolds in daily life. Long before a decision becomes physically visible, it has been rehearsed inwardly. Long before opportunity appears in front, it has been authorized behind. Long before change is seen, approval has shifted silently. The unseen precedes the seen. The inner precedes the outer. The metaphysical precedes the physical. When reaction replaces inner action, you surrender cause to effect. You allow what stands in front to dictate what stands behind. Sequence reverses, instability follows. But when you return to subjective cause, you reclaim authorship. You become directive. You become deliberate. You become the architect rather than the observer. Look closely at your day. Every conversation, every decision, every opportunity, each one reveals what has been authorized behind. Speech reflects inward cause. Posture reflects inward approval. Action reflects inward structure. Expression reveals origin. Subjective cause is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not demand recognition. It does not argue. It operates prior to visibility. It precedes the physically visible turn. It stands behind every unfolding event. It remains active, whether consciously directed or unconsciously permitted. Therefore, discipline your attention. Let it settle behind appearances. Let it anchor beneath reaction. Let approval be deliberate. Let belief be authorized consciously. Stabilize the world behind. The world in front will translate accordingly. Because the physical bends to the metaphysical. Because physical form follows thought. Because focus precedes physical visibility. Because approval precedes translation. Subjective cause is law. It is not preference. It is not mood. It is structural sequence. Effect stands in front. Appearance stands in front. The echo stands in front. The physical world stands in front. Subjective cause resides behind. The unseen governs the seen. The inner determines the outer. Affirmation for day 56. I stabilize cause behind. I authorize deliberately. I refuse to let effect dictate origin. Subjective first, objective second. What I sustain inwardly translates itself physically in front, by order, by sequence, by the law of subjectivity.